We are red. Red is on.
Okay, so welcome to Thursday, October 3rd, 2019 Selectmen's Meeting. I'll rise and say pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. First thing we had was minutes.
I move the minutes of September 26, 2019 to the floor for discussion.
Under page 3 of 3 for discussion here, under Pat reported from social media and communications, that paragraph, after further conversation, it was a consensus of the board that Jeannie send a notice to the PD on behalf of the selectmen to enforce state and town laws regarding parking on Chestnut. But didn't we also ask for the chief to come in and talk about, so shouldn't that be in there? I mean, this is just sort of the paragraph suggests that our answer and resolve was send a letter to the chief on behalf of the selectmen and tell them to enforce the state and town laws on parking on Chestnut Street, end of discussion, period. But that's not all that we did. We asked them to further come in to us
And talk about recommendations.
and talk about the
His recommendations.
right,
Okay.
update us on the recommendations that he has for us on the tree streets.
I'll put that in there.
Thank you.
Did we limit the enforcement of state and town laws to just Chestnut Street?
No,
Because they should be enforcing them.
I know this was specifically about
Okay,
Chestnut
that's my
Street,
question.
but
So
hopefully they're
Well,
enforcing
we-
everywhere.
they should be enforcing them
Absolutely.
all
Well, we
over.
we specifically talked about the corner of High, the intersection of
Right.
High and Chestnut, so it would be High as well.
But we would want them to enforce
Right,
these laws
exactly.
on all of those streets
Yes.
because it's a
Yeah.
problem
Is that like parking downtown,
everywhere.
enforcing?
But they know we've got them there.
I would make a motion to accept the minutes of September 26, 2019, as amended, as corrected.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to accept the minutes of Thursday, September 26th, as amended and corrected. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Next
I
thing.
do have just one question in reading the minutes. In the paragraph in the very beginning where they talk about the change in the notice of violation form, is that something that you want me to do? I don't think there was any direction on it. It was just a discussion about putting those boxes on the form so you could check off who it was coming from. So I just want to follow up on that. Is that something you'd like me to do, or is that coming from the code enforcement, whoever drafts
I
up the
would think
notice?
land use code enforcement,
I just
that
wanted-
department.
Health also, because it's...
I'm the
Yeah,
one-
health as well.
I'm the one that generates the form.
Well, then you're the one that should make.
And I
the-
have a checkoff list, but I have a checkoff list that I use for the primary first inspection. When I send the violation,
But I think, Peter, I don't want to speak for you, but my recollection of the conversation was that there should be a box, who's sending the notice? Is it coming from health? Is it coming from code? Is it coming
So they
from-
know who to contact.
oh, I did that.
Okay, but that's,
I did
and I
that
was saying the same
because,
thing.
yes, so I did that. The
All right.
form has changed, and I'll send you a copy of it.
Okay,
and then
I
you
just
can-
want to make
Yes.
sure. Okay.
Yes, no, I did that. Sorry, I was confused. Yes, and I put both numbers so that they know that this is, yes, I did that. And if you think there's anything I should change, please let me know.
All right, so we're way ahead of time. Peter, do you have any selectmen's reports?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if before snow flies, we'll have any resolve to a crosswalk so that the people on the north side of West Main can get to Riverfront Park. We do have a Christmas parade coming up and all, so.
And the last email that I got from Senator Gaida, which was, I want to say yesterday or the day before, said that he had a meeting set up with DOT where he was going to discuss that. They had called and asked me for some additional information. So I will follow up with him tomorrow.
Okay, quick update on sewer. They're working late tonight to get the second section of main line done on Cedar. They were able to do it in 2 pulls, not 4. They've done the laterals on the first. I believe tomorrow they'll be completing the laterals on this section. That will finish Cedar Street. Then next we have Linden Ave, that's 300 feet, so that may be done in a couple days. We're waiting on information regarding Pine Street and possibly Highland, but if we move ahead, they'll be done within a 2-week window.
So they've already cut into the other services? To the,
On the first section, yes.
Yes.
they're moving right along.
Pretty impressive.
Like told me a week, and I was kind of laughing a little bit. It's like, that's a lot of connections and stuff. Well, I'm glad it's going good.
Well, yes and
What does
no.
that do to our paving? Now, right now, we don't pave
Nothing,
until
because-
it's finished. Can we still pave in the middle of October?
If you follow DOT specs, October 15th is the cutoff for the wearing course. They say, I think, November 15th for the binder, but you see in paving, if they need it done, they'll do it up till Christmas. So binder we can do.
Binder, yeah?
If we're doing after Thanksgiving, it would have to come out of either Hooksett area or Concord. That would be the only, or possibly Franklin. Pike will shut down, I think, Northfield.
But we agreed that wearing course would be next year, right?
That's what I was
Yes,
hoping,
yeah.
only because it also allows settlement over the winter.
Yeah.
You can shim, and then
Yeah.
the wearing course will stay much more uniform.
What we have to do now, we already have a contractor. We had a contractor for that project, correct? Yes?
Yeah, R&D.
They're waiting.
Okay, so we're
I would
still,
assume Kevin's keeping them updated.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Catherine, do you know how much longer the water company has, ballpark?
No, they were, when I was out there yesterday, they were down on
We can ask them a little
Pine
later,
Street
though.
by the bridge.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll be in later.
Yeah, so we can ask them. That's all I have.
because that would be great to get that paved this year.
It will be. It won't be our fault if it doesn't. We can.
Nice.
Ours goes relatively quick.
Well, that's outstanding. Okay, I have a couple of things. I want to know where we stand with the Academy Street wall.
That's at 7, we'll probably know.
Okay, then I'll wait till 7. Today, the Silver Lake Road was, in Lockmere, was paved,
Resurfaced.
resurfaced, and it took a little longer than it might have because of the weather, but it's not painted, but it is resurfaced. And extra added attraction, not only did they fix the top of Brook Road, but they paved the entire length of it. My understanding is that our Public Works Director was directed by the town administrator to be in touch with DOT, did several times. All of a sudden, the entirety of Brook Road is paved, which was a heck of an undertaking. I've never known it to be paved, and it's nice. So thank you to Kevin, the DPW director, for his input into that. I have one more item. I went to a operating committee meeting for the Solid Waste Cooperative. I'm the treasurer of the organization, and I have information that has to be discussed in non-public about the potential sale of real property. So at the end, or whenever you guys want to go for that, I've got information. And that's it for me.
Alrighty, so I've got just a reminder, we had a notice that went out to Caleb Hill Road residents. The New Hampshire DOT is in the processing of formulating the draft plan for the 2021-2030 year. So there's going to be 2 public hearings, and we encourage everybody to attend one or both of these. And the first one is going to be already happened. So we've got the October 16th at 6 p.m. at Franklin City Hall. So it's Wednesday, October 16th at 6 p.m. We encourage the Caleb Hill residents or other people who travel on Caleb Hill Road to show up at that meeting and express their concerns. And that's it for me. Good. Pat?
That's also for the... Busy night. I have 2 small items. The first item is that I would like to request a brief non-public for personnel. Spoke with Jeannie earlier this afternoon, probably take a minute and just looking for direction. Also, October 19th is a senior center pancake breakfast at Applebee's. And yesterday we had our first meeting with Attorney Phillips for the contract negotiations, where we just kind of brainstormed some ideas. We'll update you as things progress. We have not met with the union, and we don't know any proposals at that point. It's just brainstorming at this point. So if you have any ideas, now's the time to bring them up within the next week or so. All right? Well, that's all I have.
Catherine?
Are those ideas public or non-public?
Non-public,
Okay,
definitely.
so we shouldn't send via
Well,
email?
You can drop them with Jeannie, and then just
Okay,
drop them with Jeannie, and then Jeannie can bring them to us, or...
okay. I don't see on our agenda where we're gonna discuss the budget.
No.
So I just have a very brief, kind of FYI, we'll talk about it later, but just so you know, 150th committee met yesterday and discussed our budget, and it's in there for $10,000,
Yep.
and we feel we can drop it to 5,000.
Okay.
But we don't need the 10,000.
Really?
That was a vote of the
Comfortably?
committee.
Pardon?
And do all that you want to do?
Yes, we feel comfortable, we can accomplish everything else. We still have the banner fundraising and a few other things, and then of course the money's from Rotary.
Okay.
So we felt comfortable cutting it in half.
And
And now, so Tim has reflected that?
Yep, it's in there now, I just want you to be
Okay.
aware of it, and
that-
why.
That was a vote of the committee.
That was what
The
the committee,
consensus.
it was voted.
Negative vote. Terrific. Just need $5,000.
We'll find this place to
Yeah,
start, and I'm
you're
sure
right.
somebody's going to jump on that.
And other than Academy Street research, Pleasant Street research, that's all I have.
All right. Town Administrator's Report. We're flying.
So, I only have 2 action items on my report today. They both have to do with Health Trust. For the plan year 2018, the audit showed we received funds, we received funds by Health Trust for the plan year. They exceeded the reimbursement claims. Thus, the town received a check for $2,304.80. So you have 2 options. You can either keep the funds to defray expenses to administer the plan, or you can return the funds to eligible employees on a reasonable and uniform basis through a salary reduction.
Reduction?
I'm sorry?
A reduction of their salary or reduction of the insurance?
Premium reduction.
Premium reduction, as opposed to a salary.
Yeah, I'm
reduction.
sorry.
All right, okay,
Yes.
all right.
Yeah, yeah.
I had that circled.
So, I'm recommending that you retain the funds to defray expenses, because there are years when you're gonna go over, and it's not a lot, but that's what I would recommend, but it's
Do
up
you
to you.
happen to know how many employees actually
15.
participate?
15.
15, okay.
Whose money is it? Is it their money? They paid extra?
They paid into it and didn't use it all.
We pay into that as well.
Yes,
right? Yeah.
and you pay an administrative fee, so. You just need to decide what you want to do. If you
What
want.
percentage of that $2,300 reflects what the town paid in? Half? 60%?
That's a really good question. I couldn't tell you that off the top of my head, Joe.
Because that we should retain, and I kind of like giving it back to them. If it's $10, it's their money. Just me personally.
But we also have a cost of running the program.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'll make a motion that we keep the funds to defray expenses to administer the plan.
What did we do last year? We got money back, do you remember?
We didn't.
We did
I'll
not.
second the motion just for the sake of
Okay,
discussion.
so we have a motion and second
I
discussion.
just, yes, so I did call Joyce to ask her, and she said,
We didn't get the money back. I thought we got something back from health plan. It must have been something different.
well,
It was something
Primex.
different, wasn't
Yeah,
it, when they,
Primex.
wasn't it went from, Women Government Center when they were doing the insurance, when it
Oh,
all switched over?
that might have been before last year.
Yeah, it was before last year.
But last year, you did receive money back from Primex for the different property liability and,
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right.
Mhm.
Yes, we did do that. I don't know. I could go either way. Doesn't really matter to me. It's going to be really insignificant, and it's an administrative fee.
and you'll look,
You're not getting, so if I put in, if I'm an employee and I want to do $2,600 for FSA before tax money, and I spend $2,600, I'm not losing anything. It's other people that don't spend all their money, correct? How do you end up with
Yeah.
$2,300 left over?
because there were some people who didn't use,
All of it,
All
and
of
it,
it.
and they forfeit it.
and if you look at your second bullet point,
Oh, trust me, I'm all over that one. I want to talk about it.
so if you look at that one, there's an example of what happens to the town
Yep,
when people go over that amount.
Yeah.
And you get left with the expense.
okay.
So
Wait till we finish the first one to get to that second one.
15 employees would be affected by this. Would you have to come up with some kind of formula if it was a payback, or would it be an even divisible
Well,
15
and
into?
that's a good question, and according to Health Trust, it says, and I think I noted it in my report, it says on a reasonable and uniform basis by reducing required salary reduction amounts. I left the word out, reduction.
Yeah, but reasonable and uniform
Right.
basis. That mean we just simply divide 15 into?
Right, right.
Okay, so they'd all get the same amount?
Right.
Okay.
I don't know, is that considered, I'd have to see if that's reasonable or not.
Well, that was my point.
So rather than do that argument because some left, some didn't pay in all the way and some did use all their money, then is it really reasonable? So, no, I would say, and go toward the administrative fee in that case, because it wouldn't be. So, in the case of one employee that uses all of it to the maximum and takes advantage of every pre-tax dollar, then they're going to get money back, as opposed to somebody that forfeited because they didn't really utilize their benefit to the max. I don't know. So
So
let's,
sometimes we come out negative on it.
Right.
And sometimes we come out positive.
right.
And then on the FSA debit cards, we came out negative there.
That's,
I'm just
Well-
curious.
I want to get through the motion before we get to that.
Yeah.
That is part of my reasoning with it, and my discussion, is that maybe we should be looking at, how is this averaging over the last few years? Are we taking a
We've
loss
only had 2 years of it,
2 years?
right.
And we lost money last year, but we
We
came,
didn't lose money last year, it came out even,
Right.
right? We didn't get
That's-
money back,
right. That's my understanding from the
right, we didn't get money
conversation I
back.
I kind of liked where Joe was going, that we take our administrative fee out and then divide the rest amongst them,
I'm not
because
sure,
it's
I mean, I
15.
can check into that, I'm not sure we can do that.
$100.
If it's their
take
money,
our
if it's
administrative
20
fee out
bucks.
and then do it.
Jeannie doesn't think we can do
I
it.
don't know, because they offered in the,
That-
right.
Okay, all right.
So, but I'm happy to go back and ask them.
I would appreciate, I would like to give them back the money if I can, but I understand keeping it too.
Then in the case that we cannot do that, then I would go with option 1. go to
Yes,
the
I think
administrative.
I would too.
I would too.
So do you want us to withdraw the motion till we get more information?
Oh, I just keep the
Vote on the
mo,
motion?
That'd be great.
Or
It's fine.
whatever you want.
I'll vote on it.
you can amend the a motion.
You can just vote and defeat it. I think that'd even be easier. I'll call the question.
Well, let me ask this, if the motion's defeated, then does that mean you can't,
No, we can
That
have another
motion-
No,
motion.
motion.
I
you
mean,
can reconsider that motion and
Yes, we
Just make a
can.
new one.
Yeah,
Or no motion at all, just tell.
That's what
the
I was
town
saying, pull it
administrator
off
to
till
go
we get
check
the
it out.
information.
Right,
I'll withdraw.
yeah.
I don't care. That way we get the information and Joe can...
There's no hurry.
I will withdraw my second.
Yeah,
So
I'll
there you
withdraw
go.
The motion?
Motion has been withdrawn.
So now that we're free of that, I got a question on the next bullet.
Yeah, so do I.
Okay.
That money, are they still current employees?
One is not.
Okay, so the one that is, don't we have recourse?
Well, according to what I received from Health Trust, and I'll read it to you, it says, also enclosed is the debit card transactions in the 2018 plan year that have not been substantiated. Per IRS regulations, all debit card transactions must be properly substantiated or else they are considered ineligible under the plan. Despite following the procedures outlined in the flexible benefits plan document, including multiple notifications via email and mail, we have been unsuccessful in obtaining the required documentation and/or repayment for these transactions. In accordance with IRS regulations, you must now treat these improper payments as business indebtedness and must request payment consistent with your collection procedures for other business indebtedness. To the extent you forgive the indebtedness, if collection is unsuccessful, the improper payment should be reported to the employees as wages on a Form W-2 for the taxable year in which the indebtedness was forgiven. In accordance with IRS regulations, the Benefit Advantage debit card for these employees has been permanently revoked. If you are successful in obtaining repayment, you may contact us and request to remove the permanent revocation of the Benefit Advantage debit card if you so desire. And so those two employees, one is a current employee, one is a past employee. The one past employee has approximately $600 indebtedness, and the current employee has $250. So essentially what they're saying is that I would, if you want to go out for collection, we would ask Tim to tell them they need to pay us back, and if we don't get the money, then we have to report it on the W-2.
Or go a further step? Couldn't you go to small claims?
If that's what you want to do.
That is a long procedure these days.
You know what? Just because they refuse to pay us, if they know that we will not pursue them, they'll continue to not pay us back.
Let me get this straight. So what happened is somebody used their FSA card
They
and
use their debit card.
their FSA debit card, and they charged more than,
What they had.
and the amount that they have is based on, they have a weekly allowance that they put into their account, correct?
Yeah.
So this amount, is that this year's, and that it
It was
just
in
hasn't been?
2018.
Oh, so it's last year's?
Yes.
When on earth did that happen, that they
So-
approved the charge?
So here's what happens with the FSA, because I've experienced this, okay? So if you go to the doctor, so let's say you have a certain amount of, so let's say you have $1,000 that you put into the FSA, that you say, I want FSA, and you have a project or whatever, that you want to get glasses or something, it doesn't matter, doctor's appointments, whatever. So if you go to the doctor's and you pay with your debit card for your deductible, the doctor gives you a receipt, and on the receipt it says, doctor's appointments, visit, office visit, whatever. You submit that, they don't accept it. they will not accept it. They want further information, and they will email, in my case, they will email Kim, and they will say, denied, revoked, until you get further information. So I have to call the doctor's office, and I have to say, I need a detailed summary of this. So that, whatever it was, $10 or $15 or however much money that was, for a pair of glasses it was $350. So until I get a doctor's receipt that says all these details and prescriptions and everything else that's acceptable to FSA, per RSA standards, IRS standards, I have to fax it into them, and then they accept that form, and then they take that revocation off. That's the indebtedness that they say you owe. Otherwise, if you don't send all that paperwork in, you don't get to use your debit card again, and you owe that money. And some people will say, oh God, it's revoked, I don't need it. They don't go through the trouble of fixing that card.
Think we
It's a
should
lot
pursue
of
it.
work to do that. It is. You gotta follow up
Yeah,
on everything.
Life is hard, but why should we and the taxpayers eat it because,
We shouldn't.
you know, no.
We
All
should
right.
not,
I
Joe.
thought you were suggesting.
No,
that,
I am
oh, it's
not
hard, so let
suggesting
it
it.
go.
It's a lot of work. The FSA require of you to do this. It's
Specific information.
very specific information.
Yeah.
That amount isn't overspending their account, it's charges they submitted under it that got revoked because they didn't submit enough information. And so since
It's on.
at that,
If
Go.
we choose to go forward with trying to collect it, do we have some good ways of doing that other than small claims court?
Well, I guess,
Besides just
Out of your
saying, would you,
paycheck.
could you?
I think the way that I understand it, for me, I guess the first step would be sending a letter and saying, you owe this, please pay.
Is it something we could have the prosecutor do?
I don't see what, well,
I
we
think
certainly
maybe
could, but-
HR is.
Yeah, I could do it.
Start with HR.
Yeah,
start with HR, then you can follow up.
yeah,
I think the
Oh, I thought
question,
it said several attempts made to get substantiated.
but that was them.
That's,
them,
oh, that's what Pat was talking about.
Yeah,
That's-
Substantiated.
Yeah.
right.
We haven't made any attempts to collect it.
They
Right.
do make every effort. I mean, they send out, they call, they say,
somebody just
you've gotta
ignored
follow
that.
up on this.
Okay, I got it, I'm on page.
So I think what Jeannie is asking is, do we want to forgive it, or do we want to go after it?
I think
My
we should make
answer
an
is
attempt to
after it.
collect it.
Yes.
As do I.
And perhaps the employee or former employee needs a little assistance on, maybe a little fire lit under them. And
It's a new
help on
program.
how to fill out the forms or whatever, or coaching on it, and see if we can resolve it.
Mhm.
Remind them that if they get the request that they need to respond back. If they need help, they can ask HR to give assistance.
Okay. Alrighty, so.
Yeah, it's a relatively new program. Trust me, it took me all year to figure it out.
I did it for many years. They had a form, I got used to it.
So those were the two action items. I put a lot of information in the FYI, some good things going on. Just wanted to point out that I think last week or the week prior, I was directed to get a quote for the piping at the senior center. I want to know who. So I've got 3 contractors identified, but I'd like to, one of the selectmen or whoever knows exactly what it is you're asking them to do, because I don't know either. Somebody go down there and show me exactly what you're asking for, or meet the contractor down there, so everybody's bidding on the same thing. This has to do with the piping in the handicapped bathroom, I think.
Oh, putting it interior.
Inside. So, if somebody knows, I don't know if it's Pat or if it's John, go down there with me, show me exactly what it is, so I make sure that everybody's bidding on the same thing. Or meet with the contractor, doesn't matter to me.
I mean,
Gonna have
I
to
have
be-
evenings that I,
Okay.
have to work usually
So I'll-
4:30 after.
Okay, so I'll follow up with you. Okay.
Well, I can do it during the day. I can do it during the day, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
So either way, we can.
Okay,
But I'm not gonna be able to go under the kitchen. We can just shine a light under the kitchen in there.
right.
Looks nice.
I did send you all an email about the public building safety, police station building committee. They're meeting on the 7th, this coming Monday, and they will have a preliminary design development costs. So anyone who's interested in attending that. In your FYI file, I put a letter indicating that the budget had been signed. The state budget in Tilton is getting $407,177.
Over
back
2
to-
years. Yeah, that's what our state rep was saying. Directly to us. What are we limited on? What are we limited to spending it?
Right, and I have that question in.
All right. Because all of a sudden, we're getting $407,000. Maybe the taxpayers get some relief?
Yeah.
I
Isn't
have a
that
fe-
for
I-
school funding
Well,
or school aid?
and it's in the, it's
Because
in-
Northfield's getting
there's a-
1.6,
the list
which is similar to the
Right.
formulas.
And I talked with Tim Lang, who is our state rep from Samerton, and he told me, and he made the statement that the money was coming directly to the town. I said, shouldn't this go to the school district? And he says, I'll do more research, but no, my understanding is these grants come directly to the town. Because his whole deal was, all right, all this money's coming, watch your budget committees, what do they do with this money and stuff? So I'm still trying to get a little clear, I forgot to bring that up,
So-
but
I guess I'm confused now. My understanding, this money was separate from the school funding monies.
that's
No,
what he said.
So I'm looking.
This is the school funding money.
I'm looking at what I put in your FYI file, new state aid for FY 2021 biennium. So the Tilton new ongoing education funding, you're getting 90,666 in 20, and you're getting 113,000 and change in 21. One-time education infrastructure grants, you're getting 52,000. One-time municipal infrastructure grants, and that's what I was curious what we can use that on, is 75 and 75 each year for a total of 407,176. What I don't know, and I've got a question in and I haven't heard the response back, is what about revenue sharing? So some of this is for education funding, but some is for infrastructure, and I don't know. That was my question, is what's that limited to?
So this is separate from our regular school funding monies that we get.
150
Now,
grand
if they
is,
start out by saying state aid,
Well, remember what I just said, it's new.
That's why I'm saying this
Yeah.
is separate. Do we know what
So
we're
it's
getting
new
for the
money.
normal school funding on top of this?
well, that would be decent.
Well, the email I sent, I wanted to know everything we're getting, so I'm waiting to hear back.
Okay, I didn't see the email.
Uh,
No, I
the
said-
number that Representative
So you've
Lang
asked the
used
question.
Yes.
was 437,000. I see 407 here.
Okay.
Maybe the 30 is that revenue sharing, rooms and meals or whatever.
I don't know, but if this is on top of what we normally get.
So we still have
When
to,
we do, we should use this to reduce the burden on the taxpayers.
if we can.
I thought it
It's a
was,
one-time thing.
for infrastructure or education. I don't think it's for reducing taxes.
No, that's,
No, but we can be creative. So money said we were gonna raise and.
Yeah, rather than do projects that we need done, let's just give it back to the taxpayers.
No,
No,
that's not
instead
what
of
you're
raising
saying.
and appropriating monies for a project, we can use these monies and not raise and appropriate it.
We'll have
Well,
to
the way
see.
you're talking, it sounds like we're just giving you a rebate on the money. To me, it's like,
No,
We overspend every year, we don't reduce our tax rate.
we underspent.
Yeah, but we don't reduce our tax rate. or tax rate continues to go up?
No.
Because-
I think we should allow Jeannie to get more information,
Mm-hmm.
and we can have this discussion next week.
Part of it is with your fund balance there, when it's down low, any surplus we dump in that, so in the event something happens. Once we get that where it should be, then you can give it back.
Well, we've
Are
made,
we ready for the non-public person?
No, I just wanted to mention a couple other things too
Oh,
that
okay.
we can't, later. PFAS, I've talked to you about this before. I think you all have a copy in your folder.
Mhm.
This is the, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce the word, but it's the contamination, the,
Tetrafluorochemicals.
yeah. So I wanted to bring to your attention that 3M is filing a lawsuit against the state. And they have asked other communities to join the lawsuit. Now, when they talked about it a week or so ago, they wanted other communities to join with them in the lawsuit to sue the state, essentially because the state it's an unfunded mandate. And they didn't, if you recall when I talked to you about this before, they didn't do what they were directed to do by law. They were told to do the cost-benefit analysis of coming up with that number of what is the number. And instead, they went right by that through JLCAR and put it at the lowest number that we have, not only in this country, but in all the countries. I mean, I think it's at a very low level. And of course, we want our drinking water to be safe, but they didn't do what they were supposed to do, which is the cost benefit, because we could be lowering this level to some ridiculous level that you're never going to meet. And this stuff is in everything. It's in the car washes. It's in everything. So 3M has filed a lawsuit. The Plymouth Water and Sewer District has joined the lawsuit. Another smaller business has joined the lawsuit. And initially, when they talked to me about it, they asked they asked me both here and then in Meredith, because I'm the selectman there, if there was any interest in the town joining the lawsuit. And at first it was it was going to be free to the towns. Now, the latest update that I got is that they want a separation between the towns and 3M, because they're the ones causing the contamination, so you kind of want to have a separation. But they're still going to they're going to pay a law firm to represent the towns individually, as I understand it, and they're asking the towns just to put some skin into the game. So Plymouth Water and Sewer District, I think they put in $1,000 or $1,500. The other business, smaller business, has $2,000. I asked them who else has joined yet. They are soliciting towns now. So I wanted to bring that to your attention. I have talked to Johanna about it, just because, I would make her aware, because we have the Winnipesaukee River Basin program, which the state runs, and they spend what they want to spend and it gets passed through to us. So it is concerning to a lot of communities what it's going to cost the communities.
Do they have an agreement that they signed with 3M?
Who?
These communities?
I don't know that, if they signed an agreement with them, or...
Well, so, yes, we'll join you, but what do we get for joining you? And that seems like small money for such a large lawsuit. Is that just seed money and then they want more money later?
My understanding is,
Mike Cascale's going to have to do next.
my understanding is that was it. But if there's even interest in it, I'll go back and ask more questions. I didn't want to go down the road if there was no interest in it.
I'd be interested.
Okay.
Peter?
Yeah, which 3M operation is it? Because it's not Tilton, it's one of the other, I believe, from what I'd seen, a month or so ago.
I thought it was, because I thought it was this 3M in Tilton. I could be wrong.
Okay, well, you got plenty of asbestos there too. Just saying.
yeah, they do. Now, they want to reduce the regulations?
They
Is
want
that
to,
what's their ultimate goal?
well, they want clean water. That's the ultimate goal.
3M does?
Oh, no,
Well,
the-
They're looking for reasonable regulation.
Right.
Right now, DES has gone from
right,
too high to way low. It's lower than any country.
yeah. So to a point where what my understanding is what they've lowered it to, it's not even something you can measure. So it's going to be virtually impossible. And what it means for communities is you're going to have to treat
Treat.
those. You're going to have to treat. And it's going to be
So
expensive.
we want for DES to come up with a proper number that
We
has
will-
a basis behind it.
And
As
when
opposed to just-
when I first talked to you about that, because I'm on the New Hampshire Municipal Association, that's what we were asking them to do is, look, slow down, do what the legislation told you to do the cost benefit analysis, and then tell us what we need to do. And instead, there was a group of people who were just very gung-ho on, we're gonna push this through and we're gonna disregard what the law directed us to do, and it passed through the JLCR process.
And so the idea is we don't want, it's best not to sign up with like 3M or other people that could be possible polluters, because then that could be a bias.
And I think
We're
that's,
representing the people, not,
right, and I think 3M came to that conclusion as well, because when this first came up, the idea first came up, it was 3M wanted all the towns to join with 3M, and then the attorney said, well, wait a minute, that's not a good idea. We
That's a
need to
conflict
separate.
of interest.
yeah.
Now,
So the towns are, so I thought what I heard from you, the towns are looking to do it on their own?
No, 3M still, because they believe that they will have more impact with more people filing. So 3M, my understanding is that 3M's going to fund the community lawsuit, but they have two separate sets of attorneys. And they,
It's sort of a class action with
Yeah.
more communities. Now it's a class action.
So we're all going for the same goal,
Mhm,
but for different reasons,
mhm.
2 different reasons. That's interesting. I still would be interested to see.
And I'm happy to have somebody come and
agreement or-
speak to you more about it if you
well,
want.
I know a little bit about this only because of that co-op meeting I went to
Yeah.
the other day, yesterday. And the co-op right now, after 2 years of, we have a lot of leachate. 1,500 gallons a day right now, which is low because it averages about 3,000 gallons per day that has to be treated before it comes off the ash landfill down there and goes into the sewer system for the waste treatment program. And we work with those waste treatment people. It's not casual at all. There's state and federal people that we have to report to. Well, after 2 years of absolutely no PFAs, we now have cadmium, which is a PFA, in our water. The regulation states that cadmium acceptable levels are 0.003 parts per million in that particular one. Well, this is a serious thing,
It's a
this
serious
cadmium.
thing.
Our levels are 0.3, not 003, but 0.3. We are treating, and we're not out of compliance because we're doing what we need to be doing to reduce it and what have you. But and my understanding of those PFAs is it's no joke, not even a little bit in small, minute amounts. So I don't know. I would like to get that more of that information that you were talking about.
Okay. So would you like me to have somebody come and speak to you about it? A little bit more expert on it than I
I
am?
think so, and talk with the water department, North Real Aqueduct, and see where they are with this.
Have them in at the same time to listen to them.
But if they come in and talk to us, I would still like to know if they have a written agreement with the municipalities.
Yeah.
'Cause it's, like I said, different reasons.
So And then the only thing I wanted to mention is that both Gail and Lisa Ogier over at the police department are pursuing bids for different cleaning companies. They haven't been happy with the cleaning companies. So just FYI.
We're working together, right?
Oh, and one other thing, I'm sorry. Sorry. So, I think it was on Monday, we went over, myself, Cindy Reinhardt, and Chuck and Kathy Mitchell met with Rob Seward and the folks over at the middle school to look at the potential of doing February 2020 elections at the middle school. And there were a couple different options about how we could make that happen and have the school be comfortable that it was happening over there. We still are faced with challenges of parking and some security issues. We are waiting to hear back from the school because they were going to check with Tim Joubert to see about what we had proposed, which was as you enter those doors, the way that you used to when you voted there, to create some kind of a physical barrier so that people could not get entry into the school. There was a concern that maybe that would be a fire or a code violation. So I called Tim today just to see if that he had been contacted by the school to see if I could give you any information. We missed each other on the phone, so I'm going to talk to him tomorrow morning. The backup idea to that, and I think I mentioned this to you before, was to have it at the DPW. I did go down and look at the DPW. Cindy and Chuck, did you go to it?
No, they just told me.
They went down to the DPW. Of course, you know, with Kevin, he's willing and will do anything the selectmen want. He, you know, if that's where you want it to happen, he will make that accommodation. The only concern that I heard was lighting and possible, you know, lack of lighting in the garage.
A February primary?
Yeah.
Oh, what's the odds of snow?
And getting them in and out.
Well,
Well,
actually,
that's-
Actually,
you
that
got-
would be a good thing.
yeah.
Huh?
There's more parking there.
Mhm.
But if you have a snowstorm, you'll have trucks coming in and out and all.
Well, and I had that
Kevin,
conversation with Kevin, and he said it'd actually be easier for them. Yeah. So, anyway, it was lighting, and it was this possible potential smell of gasoline for the workers who are there all day. So that's where we're at. We're still gathering information. I just wanted to give you an update. Kevin,
What?
I don't know if you want to say anything.
Why is there a smell of gasoline?
Well,
That's-
there's so
It's a
all
garage.
garages like
Yeah.
that will have a garage smell, not just gasoline. I mean, actually, that should be more diesel than oil, but it's not overwhelming. I went in there for recertification of my flagger, together buffer, and I wasn't overwhelmed by the smell. It wasn't that obvious to me. And I don't know, have we asked Kevin about the smell and how that could be reduced, or if there is a smell? Okay. The town clerk is quite excited about the possibility of going back to the town garage, because that's historically where it used to take place. We won't be paying our public works people overtime. We won't be affected by events that take place in the school's gyms with delays and whatnot. All of the material, all of the equipment can be stored at the town garage. So we're not gonna be losing the moderators' chairs.
Can I ask
How
a
do we
question?
get them in and out of the building?
So there's a door in the public garage, that's what we're talking about. There's,
Yeah.
when you first walk in, there's a door, they'd go in that door, there's a long hallway, they'd go in that door, do their voting, come all the way around and go out the door that's farther back down the hall.
Yeah.
So they park in the front. We have a lot of elderly residents.
Yeah.
So in February, they're gonna go out the back door and then walk
Oh, no.
through the parking lot to get back to their car?
No, no,
There's
no.
two
Hallway.
doorways to that front hallway.
Where?
when you walk into the hallway, the front door of the town
Mhm.
garage,
Mhm.
Immediate,
you
right.
walk in, there's a door, first you come to
I
the door,
understand it.
almost opposite,
Don't
and
they
then
have to
further
go-
down, there's another door.
Don't they have to go by each other at the door to the front? Is
Yeah.
that okay?
Oh, yeah.
Why not?
Yes.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? Catherine, are you involved in all of the makeup and the design of the,
No, I just kind of sidestepped it last year. There was, I won't go into a lot of details, some kind of public, it was better that I just sidestepped it last year, so I've stayed out of it, but they still call me because I, at the selectmen's request, was in it for so many years.
well, we appointed you as
Yes.
the liaison to the voting, and I just wanted,
Yes,
I was going to then ask you for, with Chuck, between Chuck and Cindy's office, so coordinated the voting, the design, what goes in, who goes out, who does this, and where things are.
I was appointed by Board of Selectmen years
Right.
ago
Hmm.
to be their eyes and ears.
Right,
Because I'm available during the day, I would
Right.
go over with them and I'd report back, this is the design, this is the location, this is the.
this is how it's going to work.
Last year, let's just say there was a controversy and I just kind of
Right.
stepped into the sidelines.
So
So-
when do they need an answer on this? Can we
What's that?
get a plan from them next week?
Yeah, I think we're still gathering information. I just wanted to give you an update. I think we still need to hear back from the middle school. My sense from the meetings, it seems to me that one has a preference for the middle school and another has a preference for the DPW. They don't seem to be all for one or the other. So,
Well, let's just make a decision then and just go with it.
Well, who's gonna take care of parking, because there's very few stripes at highway, so people come in, what's it gonna be, the Old West, I just park wherever? And then when you're backing out,
Well, that's what
Be a
Jimmy's
nightmare.
saying, I think we have to gather more information.
And
About
this is
using
the primary.
Right, it's not until February,
Right.
So
so
we have time,
we have a
Kevin
couple more
could,
weeks
Yeah, yeah.
before, you know.
Kevin
Yeah.
could show his
And
plan,
I can be a little bit more involved if you want.
Thank you.
and talk to Kevin, get his plan, and all that would work.
So you, Cindy, Jeannie, Chuck,
Yeah,
and the chief, or designate, gets involved.
Is there anything
Tim,
else?
you there?
that's it.
Okay, so we have, we had scheduled a non-public for 5:15 till 6 PM when we do the service award.
Yeah.
But at this point, only leaves us with 15 minutes for the non-public. Is that sufficient time, or do we want to
Depends on what kind of
till
questions you
7:15
have.
Well,
and do other business?
You have a non-public, you have a non-public, I have a non-public.
Well, then we need longer than 15 minutes.
But you might be able to knock out one in 15 minutes, I don't know. The one that I have, I think you could
We
as an
have to
employee
ask our
review.
guests to go back downstairs.
I do have one last thing. I noticed in the FYI, the zombie walk, there was a request for the picnic tables and garbage cans and whatever on the island to be left. And do we need to take action on that, or are you just going to do it?
I think that's as,
Can we bring
this
that
is-
up
I don't
under
think
other
this is a
business and
discussion I
decide
need
if
to-
we're going
Okay.
to do the non-public or not?
I thought the picnic tables were left on the island. I didn't think we brought those in anymore.
Well,
We
can
have
discuss
15
it then.
minutes to do a non-public. Do we want to try and squeeze one in?
No.
Oh, is
Or-
there
Or
I
do
don't
we
want
want,
to.
an issue on that?
Um,
Trash barrels?
It was just yours, that.
But I have a question that's very public.
Wait a minute.
want to do it under
So
other
the
business
island-
and go into our
Am
non-public?
I missing something?
No,
here?
for 15 minutes? That
The
would-
island
Well,
trash
that's what we were
barrels is
just
a
discussing,
non-public?
if we want to go into the non-public.
I thought we decided no, there wasn't
We,
enough
no,
time.
everybody began
No,
talking,
yeah.
didn't come to a decision.
Oh,
So, Jeannie, what were you saying about you had a quick,
I have one non-public that I think would be pretty quick, but it can wait too. It's really, if you've got other
so
things.
do we
to
want to
talk
do it
about.
all at
That's 30 minutes.
7:15?
Yeah.
We'll do
Okay.
it all at 7:50.
So we'll move all the non-publics
Okay.
off until 7:15 under other business and at the annual meeting. Is
So I have an
You good?
administrative question.
that good?
Yeah.
Everybody's okay with that? Okay, go ahead.
Oh.
Yes, go ahead, Catherine. I'm sorry.
Time's up.
That's a shake head. Where are we at with the trees on the island?
That's a really good question, and I have that on my outstanding issues. So I've gotten 3 bids, as the selectmen requested. I have a question into DES because the last bid that came in, the gentleman that I met with wanted to bring a piece of mechanical equipment onto the island, and he wanted to grind the stump and the
Roots.
root down like 6 inches below grade, and he wanted to know if he could do that, and I said, I don't know. So I sent an email off to DES, and I followed up with them today to find out what the answer is, again, because of shoreline protection. So that's one issue. Then once I get those 3 bids, I'm gonna come back to you. You're gonna decide which way you wanna go, and then per the board, I will go to Northfield and say, this is what it's gonna cost, because they're supposed to share in the cost.
The other problem is that bridge, how much weight can it hold? And, you know, are they lifting the stump grinder in with a crane, or are they traveling over?
Right, and we did have that discussion with,
Oh, but removing the tree pieces too. Well, more information?
so that's where we're at. We're still in a,
Okay. I just,
nothing moves fast.
no, but it seemed like, I'm glad the concerts are over. It seemed like we had a precarious situation, so. Okay.
Ten minutes of other
Yeah.
business.
Mr. Chairman, I don't know if people in the audience are here
Yep,
or other.
here for the service award.
See, they,
You're just watching. Okay, well, welcome.
It's my brother.
oh,
And he's
okay,
up from Florida.
okay.
He's
So-
first and all the leaves changed.
So,
he came
You
up-
own up to that?
so he's not here
And
to
his wife
complain.
is.
Oh, I was excited for a minute.
Yeah.
Somebody just came and watched.
You know, I
Yeah, I know.
You're good.
Nice to see you.
So, since we're waiting, I will also tell you one of the other outstanding issues is this idea of the timetable, Mabel, and the property, and I continue to follow up with the folks about, you know, are they willing to give it over to the town? And I ping her probably once a month, and tomorrow I will place a phone call, so, because they seem like they wanted to make it happen, and
But they're being taxed on it, aren't they?
they are being taxed on it.
Probably not a lot. It's not,
No.
well, there's nothing you can do on it except stand, picnic.
Take pictures.
Is there any, anything that we need to do relative to the Winnipesaukee River and the erosion? Wasn't that something you were working with DOT on?
Yeah, I have to get, actually, I have to get some pictures and somebody shaking the guardrail, so. Bill, we wanna
Oh,
make
I'd
a-
love to
a
go
date
shake
for
the
Saturday-
guardrail, sure.
Saturday or Sunday morning?
Saturday
We'll
morning.
shake the guardrail together. Okay, so we'll
Sunday.
do that.
Sunday.
Sunday?
What time?
Looks good. You want to come along too?
Oh, yeah,
Sunday.
It's gonna be close to the river,
I'll go.
so Sunday.
So I can fill in some more, I'll go through my FYI. You saw we got 10 to 15 students from the Ag Center, or the FFA. They're gonna help plant bulbs. I gave you a list of places that I suggest, I don't know if you read that, of where I'd like to see the bulbs planted. I think all, except for one, are all on town, well, I think all on town property. And,
You get the
Or right
cemetery
away,
up by
yeah.
the car wash?
what's that?
The cemetery up by the car wash? Between auto serve and the car wash, there's those
You wanna plant them in the cemetery?
Along the fence.
Well,
In
what
the
I
right
was,
way?
what I was trying to do was create the biggest impact, so my thought was, and I'm open to anything, is that as you come down the hill, the first thing you see is the Tilton Historic Downtown sign. You plant 100, 200 bulbs there, and I'm trying to create some balance, so the next place that I know is your property, you know, on your land.
Hmm.
And then,
1,000.
not 1,000, but
Golf
quite a
club.
few. That's what you'll be doing in 2 weeks. And then,
By
I
hand.
volunteered.
and then we've got quite a few going along. The next thing you see is Salmon Run, and I've got an email into them, and I also have an email into the Conservation Commission and Parks. Waiting to hear back from them if they're okay with that. I mean, I've talked to them generally along the way, but I finally figured out where things were going. So Salmon Run along the Tilton School wall, then at Timetable Mabel. Catherine suggested today the monument marker, and that would, and then Riverfront. I wanted to do Vespaca Park, but Catherine said maybe that wasn't the right timing.
No room left.
Well, as long as, so the park commissioners are getting bids to remove the two, I'm not sure if they're linden trees or pear trees, there seem to be a controversy, the two
Deciduous.
trees in the front, they're growing up into the power lines. And so they're getting bids to have them removed, in fact, they voted to have them removed, so I suggested if we plant them there, that they are well away from that root base. They're gonna remove them and theoretically stump ground.
And then some in the T-Hop, Lot G, and then at the Civil War Monument.
Sounds good.
So you could certainly plant them at Vest Pocket, you know, by like Squantum side and the sign side. And probably on the furthest away from the trees.
So one more thing that came up, I don't know if anybody
Yeah.
else saw that, but they were talking about when we replaced the sidewalk down by where putting the capstones, where True Green
Oh,
ran into the river.
good one.
They were requesting that possibly that would be a good time to put the conduit in for electrical on there, so we could decorate along, light along the river there. So,
So, and that project's been delayed until Academy Street. You decide on that because the same contractor is doing the True Green, and he, to save the town money, you'd like to only mobilize once. So his plan was to come in and spend 2 days at True Green, pull those capstones out, put them where they belong, and then go over to Academy Street. So everything's,
so keep in mind about that.
Should we talk about
I'll do
that later and get a consensus if we agree on that, so we can have Jeannie contact Kevin to either have Public Works put the conduit in and put a string in it so we can pull the line later, or get a hold of JP Carter. Either way.
Whose land is that sidewalk on?
Nobody wants it?
The person who suggested we put the conduit in, Mr. Cropsey.
So what sort of agreement, is there gonna be some sort of agreement then?
He was willing, last time I've talked to him.
I've seen
anytime I've talked to him,
proposals in the past.
He's been very willing, so.
Pat, you hear what we're talking about?
Oh, yeah, from there.
But if we're gonna do that, we need to know what that extra cost would be.
Bring the conduit along the river where the True Green capstones.
Oh, yeah, I like that idea.
Sure.
Croxey's
Or just start looking into it.
agreements and
He suggested it.
How about the Elm Grove where the ATM is?
for the bulbs,
Yeah,
that's not town property.
I know, but we can ask. That will make an impact, huge impact.
that would be a nice.
Why don't we
area.
ask Elm Grove to plant some bulbs? We're doing it
Well,
around town, they could
that's
join
what I'm
us.
suggesting.
Okay.
There you go, they could plant
Well,
bulbs.
we can only have 1,869 bulbs planted.
Yeah, that's why they get their own.
Who's gonna know?
Plant, ask them to plant 1,869 tulips.
That's very,
No, that's a good suggestion, and I'll ask Jim. I think he'd probably be amenable to that.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
I'll let
that'd
him
be
know
great.
that you're
That'd
gonna
be a
come.
super
I'll let
impact.
him know that you're gonna come help plant the bulbs.
I'd be glad to.
What date, what
Seriously, I'd
date
be
is
glad
it?
to.
Well, it's, the bulbs are on the way. And the first planting is gonna be October 10th, and that's by the ag students. And I think, and probably, I forgot to mention, but I also have the police station, the hill there. And I talked to the ag director today about having the students do that on the 10th.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the police were going to do that.
Thursday.
Explorers.
That's a good idea. So, anyway, the first planting starts on the 10th. The Tilton School students are doing theirs on the 12th.
So before we end it for our thing, the last thing that you have on here, your last information on your FYI, are we going to do something on this?
oh, I was wondering that too.
Oh, sure, if you'd like.
Well, yes, I think we should. I think it's really important that, and I've spoken to you several times about this, that we thank our employees on any level. So I don't know what that means.
Yep.
What level we can do it, but think of something and maybe next week bring it.
Okay.
Okay.
He's done a very good job, I think.
Yep.
He's done a great job.
So I think we should recognize that.
Okay, great.
Okay, so
I think she's.
being about 6 o'clock, we're going to, we've got some service award, in particular for our town clerk tax collector, who has been here for 20 years now, or actually over.
Well, you're gonna miss it if you.
The doors have been locked.
And there are police at edges. Is there anybody, first of all, I have a, ladies and gentlemen, I have I don't even know what you call this. It's a certificate of appreciation in honor of 20 years of devoted service to the town of Tilton and its residents. I have here, on behalf of the Board of Selectmen, this certificate.
Come on out here.
Come on.
Be on the
Yeah,
camera.
maybe you are.
If you get over this way so we can see this on the camera, you know.
Okay, yeah.
Just
Just want to
on
get you
YouTube.
right in the camera. 20 years. Congratulations. Thank you very
Oh no, get
Okay.
all the
We
friends
all
in
this
too.
to Gail
much.
Twombly.
Everybody.
We all this
Oh
to
no,
Gail
we want
Twombly.
all her friends here
Here she
too.
is.
And when she was left in, what, 23 years you had?
How many?
I said, how the hell did you do it?
Well, you're catching up with her.
So go in the corner and let's get a picture with
Yeah,
all
let's
your
get a
friends.
picture.
Bill. Where's your?
Where's my brother? 20 years.
Come on,
Hardly
Kelly.
seems possible.
Come on,
does it?
Kelly. Janet. Come on. Come on, everybody.
Did you read my lips?
Come on, Gail. Judy. Everybody.
Get up front, Joe. Selectmen up here, we'll be right back.
Oh, no, no,
Right
no.
right here. Right there.
There you go.
No, no, no.
Don't think we don't see you. Come on, Judy.
No, I'm all wet. Let's stand in the back.
Get your ass over here.
Oh, she told you to get your ass up here. That's okay. You're a
I
bit.
know I was coming with a camera.
That's
She's
why I
always
just like.
late.
planning, and that was scheduled at 5:45.
Yeah.
I do that with my sister.
No.
What's
my hair look like?
Oh, yeah.
Be here.
She told me something at a game, so, she told me to take up those shells.
Oh, yeah,
I'm gonna stand in.
Yeah,
Can this be today?
Jeannie, why aren't you here?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's hiding.
Johanna! Wait.
Johanna, get your butt over here.
Johanna!
I already,
Good try. Nice try!
They got me, they hit me.
Come on, Jeannie, nice try, this is it, come on.
Hey,
Is
that you?
That's just what you said.
Somebody get goosed.
Maybe.
Beth, you can join us if you want.
She's like,
See, those who hesitate, get up front, Johanna.
All right, I'm trying to keep that exit sign out here.
Why? Don't let her think thoughts down.
Exactly.
21 years.
So I don't want an exit sign.
I don't know by next March.
No, it's not happening. Not happening.
Oh, no. Never thought.
Hey, we even have cookies.
so.
We have cookies and refreshments, so please feel free to avail yourself. Otherwise, I would have to eat them.
Good, how are you? Good to see you.
That's not good. Paper tomorrow, nothing else.
I know, this is unbelievable.
Come on in. Yeah. Yeah, let's do it.
You'll leave it Saturday. Wow. I don't blame you. How are you? Good to see you.
What do you say?
115.
So, Saturday.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a sunny day, and the only sunny day this week. Good for you. Now, how do you want to make this transfer?
Do you want to do tomorrow night? Because we're serving breakfast.
Yeah, that's the way to go. So you'll need the grip, the fire cup.
Bill, I got you your favorite.
It's all clean, ready to go. I've seen you.
I helped you cook it.
Holidays, Tilton Selectmen.
Oh, that's right, that's right.
Don't be shy here, Dale.
I've seen 500 people this week. I know you from somewhere. What's your name?
Beverly,
Beverly. I don't want to forget.
no worries. I'm hard to forget.
Falls in the air.
Hot dogs, hamburgers. Shepherd's pie, mac and cheese.
You don't keep all this. You got chafing dishes?
I remember that 23 years.
Over in Cambridge.
Nice.
We bought all of them this weekend. Plus I got a big hot box that I just put it in the nose in the bottom.
See a 30 of
Sounds good. Where do you go?
Oh, pumpkin ten weeks. There you go. You got 10 weeks to go.
Are you coming over?
What's the 23 years?
I'll text you tomorrow. I don't know where it is.
That's why.
We'll be around till 5:30. If you
30 altogether.
I live in a city right there at the end of my barn, ready to go. The grill's sitting there as well. In case you needed them, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna.
I got a couple of partial tanks.
Came in as breakfast and lunch.
Oh, yeah.
So we got the sausage patty. Where I said we're doing that.
She was over there.
And then in muffin tins.
With you?
With the eggs in muffin tins, with flat top, poke them. Right sauce for the.
Beverly, because I didn't, that's why I was assistant.
This is for sure.
Stephanie DeGale, I was the assistant, and Gail left, I became the for
Nope, that's the.
She's still like that?
The New Hampshire Select Golf Association. We're doing a weekend there with seminars and all that. And she said,
Good to be crowd.
Yeah. Anything they can find out, be in there.
So the 20 years doesn't count to
Best thing he ever put in the ground. Her queen.
We did apple cinnamon bread, pumpkin bread, salt bread,
Missing out on that thing up.
And
just try to find it.
mine was in the tax collectors and
Absolutely.
so I was working on that, so I paid
First they thought-
tax collector
No, this is adult.
for 15 years.
Yeah, I didn't really- no,
Oh, in front of you when I had to be in sports.
no.
I said, I don't want to go back in the building, what's over here?
Well, they'll be coming that day.
And then I went to,
Okay, well, good enough.
Well, thank you very
I'm
much.
glad I got to see you at the call tomorrow, so I can cross that off.
One time.
Outstanding.
What's up?
Don't forget, extra dog tomorrow.
Oh, yes.
in 2000.
Roger's coming to school.
Oh, good. Gee, first he had to be a boy.
He's working after
What's he doing? Where is he going? Hunting?
Sandbar. It's chicken. Yep.
You can take Chrissy anytime you
Yeah,
want.
I've heard that name. I've heard that name.
There's a bronze statue in the basement. I'm here.
So she lives in the basement? How?
That noise you hear from the late at night.
Pretty chill?
Huh?
Pretty chill?
Usually. We're excited.
I don't have to like put any paper up high or skip paper, nothing like that.
Sandra Lee's all excited.
Yeah.
Okay.
That must have been 100.
Okay, so you started before 2000.
No, we got the water company at 7, and then non-public after. Well, they gave her a hour now.
Yeah.
Maybe he's waiting.
New Year's Eve, I
Water.
could, New Year's Eve, I could, well, New Year's Eve, 1988, I moved in. So, yeah. Yeah, that was right.
Missed it.
Oh, good news. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think I hold
So,
channel on that.
so we decided, I said, he's getting us $606 a
Have some of these Cindy Reinhardt
How we doing, man? How are you? Great.
I saw something the other day and I said, that's what happened.
I just told you.
Besides,
The God or any one of the lesser gods? Any God. Oh my goodness. With the wrong name under the picture.
So, it's like I just start with it, with them right
You're good people to lose.
We just stay right there.
I don't know if they do it. Consider what's in your life. Get hurt the ass. Yeah, couple more years.
I asked my best friend to run a follow. Ain't pulling all those bombers out of the closet.
Well, I kind of stumbled in. I heard the story how I got this. I went to Florida, come back I came in to pay my taxes. And I
Oh, by the way, TV show. I'm the youngest guy.
to see how it works, because we have certain okay, so I started coming, I only that one guy. Excuse me,
Well, you were the one guy.
They won't even let me in the car.
My job is
and it and that's what I said, if nobody else sorry. And I went the last day and nobody running. Right until I just felt it happen. One minute ago, broke down my just so many obligations. I'm the outside representative. My life is busy.
As we all know, as I certainly know.
Yeah.
And I didn't see you
Everywhere I go, there she is.
Yeah, not everywhere. I just
It was some kind of fundraiser. I don't know if that's
The city manager does
That's
all you care.
Yeah, well, that's just that was at the Veterans House.
Oh, yeah, I was there.
Yeah.
I was there.
I was there waiting for him to talk to us.
I didn't say anything. Except for Lisa with the shoes.
Yeah, that was cute.
Yeah. She represented Alice.
Yeah, really. Actually, I was glad that, she wasn't there.
Where at? Which one? I like the upstairs.
That's I haven't had a job since April.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Good. They can't improve if they don't know there's a problem.
Yeah.
She's got a walk in the moment. And she still went to,
How did you order? Some cooks think that you can drop them in the fryer, stomp them with stock. Well done, it doesn't make any difference. Even when it's well done, doesn't know the difference. Which is, of course, certainly true. But you guys should see it happen. Oh, eat them up, please.
Take the rest of the dogs home, I don't want them.
Don't get enough time. Actually, that doesn't look nice at all.
That's a leaf. Go from the first one. Right. Well, getting it. So, looking at right there, like, turn around and just start.
Yeah.
Because they have the coordinators.
Actually, I can lose interest. Yeah, I've had 2-hour conversations with him on the phone, and I stood in parking lots for years. He check on him. I don't like the way he
That trailer was burning.
Control, and of course, the suckers get it sucked in, and then they get all mad.
They were saying something, and I mentioned he said, since when? You live in Alexandria, and I said, see, you don't know what do you? You wanted to move to Alexandria. I wrote it down. Friday and Thursday. So I had to reschedule it for this. Is that what it is?
I drive to them.
Yeah, I know that.
I can't believe it's been 20 years since you've been working here.
23.
I mean,
Yeah, Gail's always quiet. You gotta watch out for the. Yeah.
Just use Jack was sorry.
Same thing?
Oh,
Thank you.
There you go. You're welcome.
Well, he can take and edit out
Yeah.
the milling and get in the presentation.
Harder and harder for
No, water company. So,
Maybe we get the notice button.
Could be, as long as there's not a whole lot of sections on mine, zip zoom, and he wants the information at this point.
He's not even a little bit more than that. Oh, yeah, come see me. No, I mean, you probably go, just even a little bit. Not even close.
I know Barry. Somebody has an office down there? Yeah. I did. No, I didn't know.
But every once in a while, she's very reliable.
Yeah. That's funny, Sunday, that was years ago. That's funny, Sunday, years ago.
I was guilty. I was blocked.
I mean, that was, oh, that's that primary for dog we have.
I would have liked for it to change how quick Mr. Sparker had operated.
I'd like to be a cop, you know.
Yes.
Jesus, you are. And you do it. Or you can.
You're like yeah, right.
too bad. Smaller groups still have some of the similar problems. Trying to motivate. Pretty much. Yep.
It's a behavioral problem. Oh, get out of town. Hi there. I'm Joe.
Hi, Joe. Peter.
Peter.
Peter's the plumber. He did the coffee machine. So any plumber.
And what's your name?
Gene.
Gene?
That's right.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. It's late. Good
I didn't even know you had a brother, John. Take some cookies too. Please, take some cookies.
We watch your
I guess a lot of kids, and myself included, when I was a kid, had no concept of how much math impacts your life. Everywhere. No matter what business you're in, what I do is all about chemistry and mathematics.
Your sciences are just applied math.
That's right.
So, yeah. Yes, but it's like baking. It's a science. If you don't
It
do
is.
it right, it's
There's an art to it as well,
Okay,
but
yeah.
it's all about proportions and the application of heat or cold at the correct time.
Yeah.
The art comes in knowing
Yeah,
when
yeah.
that time is.
making good popovers. That's the art.
That is a thing.
Yeah. Yes, without them falling on you or being just a lead, nice and airy.
I worked for a couple of years,
Not good with popovers. I'll get them to rise some, but
and it's hot pans.
yeah.
We used to hot pans. We used to make prime rib with the, they're not popovers, there's a name.
Oh yeah.
I can't believe I don't.
Pudding.
Yorkshire pudding.
It is.
Right? And the hot beef fat into a hot pan in a hot oven, and you gotta watch them.
Yeah.
Pull them out too, they'll pop up, but if you pull them out too quick, oh no, it's definitely still on.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, pull them out too quick and they won't build the structure and they
Yeah.
fall. But when they come out, well,
Yes.
She's up to nice after the dog.
yep.
No,
Unfortunately, most recipes are written for sea level, but they don't write that down. So if we're at 1,300 feet approximately here, so you have to make that change in your hand. And if you take your stuff to Hampton Beach and make it, it'll turn out different. They say, why? Well, it's the atmospheric pressure.
Maybe for one, that's it.
Because the pressure is less at this altitude than it is at sea level. Unless, of course, there's a high pressure front coming through, and it really is, there's a lot of
We're
variability.
gonna cook by barometer. What's my pressure today? Yeah.
So the other day I was, Brandon journey.
Thank you very much. It was a nice surprise.
Plastic cap for wide.
He's down there tomorrow.
Thanks for bringing it. Yeah, you're gonna,
Thanks.
well, there's cookies too that
Yeah, we'll bring them all down tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll leave this right here.
I've eaten peanut butter since I was that big, when it was small.
Looking for shingles. Looking for shingles and then I'm gonna go pick up.
Right, then I was allergic to peanuts. But yeah, we're
Hey!
I got Spanish. I need to see a movie. No, literally, I pulled in and dug it out. And then dug it out.
You are keeping stuff off the ground, but I've had everything but diphtheria, I think.
And then the church is for sale.
I didn't get polio.
Thank you.
Good night, Cindy.
And smallpox, but I had, what's the one, chicken pox. I had chicken pox, and that's what gave me chicken. This many years later. If you had chicken pox,
Mr. Chairman,
Good?
Take two, call us in the morning. Take two.
oh, there's cookies here too.
come on, you must have some friends. Grab a fistful.
No, you know me, I
Cookie?
my mom's not right, checks along
He talks all about the Mercedes and it's Mercedes, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you bring that up? I was gonna go for a ride and then, oh, you flew? Oh, okay.
Somebody bites the.
Okay.
Let's put it back here.
No, that was me, I didn't bite it, I broke
I know, I know.
She bit it, she didn't like it.
Rewind the tape.
I didn't like it either.
No, I just didn't want to eat one. I didn't touch any, I didn't contaminate the other part of the cookie.
Contaminate my food on your I'm all set with that.
Very nice.
We're still going from before, even though we recessed. What happened to Catherine?
Yeah.
Oh, I think she went next door. No, I'm only kidding.
Sure, onion?
She may have gone next door. Oh, we're recessed. Catherine, you up here?
No, she's downstairs.
Okay, well, I'll
She really is downstairs if you want to go.
run down and move her along here so we can get this done.
Pretty bright.
I wanted to fit in with everybody up there, I was, you know.
Bye, yeah.
Patch is my best. It's going good up there, huh? Like it. Like the work they're doing.
They're hustling, they
Yeah.
really are.
They really are. Appreciate it.
Oh, the sewer thing?
I know we're not allowed to discuss that here, but yes, it's.
He already did. He gave us an update.
You're
Because
public, you
they
can
did
discuss it.
hits periodically, so they can pull pipe from one area to another. In some cases, with a third or fourth pipe, there's pipes above us, there's all kinds of crap. And we're pulling a new pipe through, up, you know, and you can look down and see pipe. Oh, there's sewer at the bottom of the thing. Well, just watching the process is pretty impressive.
I want to get up there and watch some of it myself.
I think this will be the last
I
section.
may have. They're doing the last section tonight?
And they just finished the pull, now they're doing saddling in the.
Yeah, the
Wow.
connections.
So how do they make the connections on the sides? They have to dig it up or?
Yeah, there's a fitting that goes from the new pipe to the previously existing lateral.
So they have
In
to
some
dig each
cases,
one of those
those laterals are in bad shape, so we're going back, if they're bad, we're going back to the property line, and that's Rowell's is consulting with each property owner, like, here's where you're at, I mean, here's where sewer commission ends, and here's where you begin, and it's up to you if you want.
Are they making repairs as needed based on the homeowner's input at that time, or do they come back, or do you know?
I think timetable-wise, I think they want to get out of the
Yeah.
main street.
Yeah.
Because they're stubbing at least to the property line, and if they want to book that.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
This is going to be funny because Catherine's going to sit down and we're going to go into non-public, which makes Jason go up and leave.
That's good.
Okay, so, well, welcome back. We just finished up from our service award for Cynthia Reinhardt, who's been here for 20, a little bit over 20.
Just over 20
almost
years.
21 years.
Yep.
And, in a tough job, and she has been doing a great job. We appreciate all that she does. So having said that, and looking at our agenda, I'd like to welcome everybody in the audience and tell you that you have to leave. We could do some audience comments first, yeah. Thanks, Joe.
I'd rather don't.
Yeah.
Cookies, grab them, buddy.
Just like, yeah.
Take
So-
all you want.
We had a short meeting prior to this, that's why we discussed all of the other stuff. So now we're just left with our non-public.
Is that good? Is that fit the agenda good?
In the water
No, I literally got
Yes.
boxed in.
Oh, the water company's coming at 7.
We're going to go into a short non-public till 7, and then we have the water district that will be here, and we're discussing the Academy Street and the rebuilding of that section of road or wall, and accommodations.
Jason, are you coming back?
Oh. Why, you got anything?
That's it.
Well, no, well, Academy Street. I was just gonna ask if you'd do me a huge favor on your way down.
Turn the sign around.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jason.
Which one are we doing first, Chairman?
Okay, so we're going to do the non-public personnel.
Doesn't that? What was on non-public?
Employee performance appraisal.
Okay.
So is that A?
What's that?
Which is promotion, compensation, public employee disciplining, investigation charges, or would that be
Just personnel.
C?
Just say first.
C?
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to make a motion that we go into non-public as per RSA 91A
Well, give us 15 minutes.
3, 15 minutes, colon 3, paragraph 2C, matters which discussed in public would likely affect adversely the reputation of any person other than a member of the body or agency of less such.
If he's here, do you want to keep him?
Unless such person requests an open meeting, this exemption shall extend
he's
to any application or assistance or tax abatement or waiver, fee, a fine, or other levy if based on the inability to pay authority of the applicant.
Second.
We have a second. And
Constantino, yes.
Dawson, yes.
Fog, yes.
Jessman, yes.
Scanlon, yes. So moved.
Okay, we're red, we're on. I'd like to make a motion to seal the minutes in the non-public session as they pertain to personnel permanently and as they pertain to the potential sale of real property until such time as the
Matter is resolved.
matter is resolved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Aye. Opposed? So moved. Okay, so the next thing we got is 7 o'clock, Water District Commissioners, the Academy Street Project.
Not good.
And they'll be coming up.
That's kind of disappointing in a way.
$80,000?
Yeah,
We should just let that.
that's really weird.
That's what I
It's
thought.
a real quandary. Why would you-
Professional appraiser.
Yeah, why would you?
And that's what I think is so wrong.
Curious. It's too much of a difference.
How y'all do?
Good.
Terrific.
What are you
Okay.
doing way back there?
You know you're gonna have to come up here.
Yeah,
It's a quiet night. Come on.
Arthur Damas. How are you, buddy?
So anyway, we're going to be discussing this, and Gail takes the minutes, and Gail can only take the minutes by what she hears through the microphones.
Hi, Gail.
So if you're gonna speak, you have to sit at the
Gail's not
table.
yet to go up there.
No, she's, yeah,
I thought you said Gail took the minutes.
she did,
She
from
does,
from
she
the
does
recording,
the
so you have to
audio.
speak in the microphone, so. Anyway,
So you want
so,
us up there?
come on down.
Only if you're gonna talk.
Who's got
Slide
the
chairs
host
up.
talking?
The chair.
Could the real chair please step forward? Stand up, yeah, there you go.
That was pretty good.
So,
Candy better be good.
it is.
Actually, we
We
got
got hard
cookies
candies
and
over here.
donuts and
Oh, cookies over there.
There's regular cider, just regular,
Regular
sweet cider,
cider.
yeah.
Okay.
Um,
I'll try to
So-
refrain for the moment.
Anyway, so you heard about the plans and what the contractor proposed, and you guys
Well,
discussed some things, and let's see where you guys are at with it.
John, we may need you up here.
yeah,
Yeah.
step right over.
chair, please.
Oh, we got two mics now.
Come on, John.
We got two microphones.
Oh, it might be.
How's it
John
going?
thinks he's moving.
Thank you, Jeannie.
So, the last that we had really heard was an RFP was going out for engineering. And that was like almost 2 years ago. Then, I don't think it went out the first time, then I heard it was going out again. And that was about all we heard. And then we heard that you guys were, contractor was coming Monday and building a wall. And that was like news to us. At that point, we had no idea anything had gone through or anybody was coming, except for that notice. So, as far as seeing what they're doing or how they're doing it or anything like that, haven't seen anything.
Well, they said if you build the wall, they will come, look at,
Oh, yeah.
and you're
And
here,
here we are.
and you are here.
So,
Do we have any?
Specifications? Any specifications for this wall?
you have a copy of that contract?
Yeah.
Anybody?
Anyway, you?
So, can I give a little background?
Please. You can give a lot of background.
So, probably one of the first projects I was faced with when I came on board approximately a year ago. Selectmen asked me to issue an RFP for an engineering study for Academy Street. So we sent out an RFP to approximately 6 different companies for an RFP for an engineering study. We got back 1. And the engineering study was approximately, I want to say, $35,000.
And who was the one that responded, Jeannie?
It was CMA Engineers. And I'm happy to...
Craig
you wanna see
Musselman
this?
Associates.
This is the...
Sure, I'll take a look at it.
So, I brought that to the selectmen. I just got to see if there's other stuff in there. Brought that to the selectmen, and there you go, Sean. The next step was, because it was just an engineering study, it wasn't to do any work. So the next step was to reach out to a firm to see what it would cost to actually repair the wall or reconstruct the wall. And at that point, we got a bid from Beck and Bellucci to do really a total reconstruction of the walls with interlocking, new railing, everything. I mean, the whole repair from one end to the other. That was $80,000 to $100,000 to have that done. So we went back to the selectmen again and said, okay, this is what you got. Where do you want to go from here? So we had talked to local contractors about, and we had them come and look at the wall, and I believe, Kevin, you were with me, and I believe there were folks from the water district out there that day when.
Yeah, I walked out there, John Chase, when you guys were looking, because I was wondering what you were
Looking
kind
at.
of intentions
What's
were.
going on?
Yeah, and so we got a quote from a local contractor who said his recommendation would be, because we, $80,000 to $100,000 was a lot of money, and he made that recommendation, which I think you've seen, which is just to leave the wall as it is, but add a layer, and Kevin can speak to it better than I can, because we met with John. And that was the next step. And then we heard, I believe it was from Scott or somebody from the water district, was concerned about the integrity of the road. And
That was as a citizen, not as a water district commissioner.
Okay.
I had questioned about the road because of the dips in the road on the right-hand side. I walk my dog early in the morning, like 5 o'clock. And one of the streets I walk a lot of times is Academy. And it is very, there's a lot of cars go across there too, so a lot of times I'm over on the right-hand side because they park cars on the left-hand side when I'm coming this way. And it's a rough road to walk early in the morning, especially if it's dark. It's a rough, the road's not level, there's no question about that.
So, based on that concern, we looked for some company, we looked for several companies to give us, to do a sonogram to tell us what was going on with the road. We got one company from Massachusetts to come and look, and we have that report, and it wasn't a guarantee of anything, certainly, but the general feeling was that we could go ahead and do what we were planning to do with the road. So everything is a process, and we had the contractor lined up. We had done all the due diligence that the selectmen had asked us to do. I went to the selectmen, and they had, at that point, at that Thursday night meeting, they said, yes, we're ready to go ahead. Up until that point, we were still doing research. When they said yes on Thursday, on Friday, we called the water district to let them know. Now, we've got a contractor that we've been holding off for months, and you know what it's like out there in terms of getting people to do work. So this guy's been on hold. We get the okay to go forward. We let the water district know, and he's ready to go on Monday. And by the way, we also have the same contractor doing the work over at the True Green accident to pull the capstones out of the water, that accident.
Oh, yeah. I remember.
So he only wanted to mobilize once, so that, to save the town money. So that's where we're at. I communicated as soon as I knew that the selectmen said they were ready to go. And I guess in my mind, because we had been up over there, that, and if you're going to blame anyone for lack of communication, I guess it would be me. I thought I was doing communication. So that's where we're at. And at the end of the day, if we, I think we all want it fixed. So how do we get there?
Right. One of my questions would be, what was the footage, 140 feet? 140 feet. What portion of the wall are you looking to repair?
Kevin, can you?
Basically, it was determined.
Speak into the microphone, man.
Oh, yeah. Gil. Say hi to Gil.
So it was determined that the section of wall between your driveway entrance and the telephone pole was still in good shape and had good integrity. The section between the telephone pole that extends past your garage is what needed to be addressed. And that's where the 4 to 5 foot base was going to come into effect. There's a steep bank there anyway that isn't being utilized. So we would excavate that, start at the base of the wall, and taper up to the road edge.
This is behind the garage or?
to the side of, alongside the garage.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm with you. Yeah.
But the wall from the telephone pole to your entrance would be tapered back to the existing wall. It wouldn't have a wider footprint. So you,
So it's not gonna come
No,
5
no.
feet in the whole
No, 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 no.
140?
not at all, no. So basically from the telephone pole to your driveway entrance, it would merge gradually,
Okay.
so there wouldn't be any intrusion into your driveway.
But it would start out at about 5 feet from the existing wall, right alongside the garage?
Right alongside the garage, exactly.
Okay.
The idea with the 5-foot base is stability,
Yeah.
because the wall has to be so tall.
Right.
If we don't have that 5-foot base, we're just building what's there, and this, in 5 or 10 years, it's going to be falling over again, and we don't want that. So that was the thought process with the wide base tapering off to the top, and we didn't want to intrude on the driveway entrance to the road, line of sight issues, and it's already existing and it's structurally sound,
Right.
so we didn't want to disturb that.
Okay.
But we wanted to make it look nice. So
That's the reason for the tapering or whatever?
from the telephone pole to the driveway
Yeah.
would be a nice gradual taper back
Okay.
to the original footprint,
Okay.
which would make it look uniform and aesthetically nice, just look nice to look at.
Yeah.
Instead of choppy, addition after addition after addition. We were trying to avoid that. So, leaving the wall in place, the original wall in place from the telephone pole back towards School Street it's already been there. It's kind of, yes, it has some integrity issues as far as longevity, but it's already established.
Mhm.
And by adding a wall to the outside edge, or adding a new wall, would kind of double up the strength that we were looking for with the new structure design.
Right.
So I think that's what we were trying to accomplish, trying to not disrupt the original road, the original wall, because if we start taking that apart, we don't know what we're going to come up with. You understand? We're not. It's like opening a can of worms. Exactly. Well, then we're going to be rebuilding the entire road at that point.
Kevin?
We just don't want to do that.
Can you just speak to also what John talked about, the type of,
Type of stone?
yeah, he was using a fabric.
Okay.
There's much more to it.
Yes. The exterior of the wall will be large granite, quarry granite, which has sharp edges, which holds together nicely. Behind that would be erosion stone, which is 5 to 7, which interlocks nicely, but also allows for drainage, so there's no undermining. And on top of that would be fabric to stop sediment or any erosion beyond the stone.
Right.
It would help hold the existing road together and separate from the new wall being built, so it would be a strong structure.
Right.
So the
And
mechanics behind it are sound. I mean, coming from the contractor, Humiston Contracting or Construction has walls along Route 3 that have been in place for 20 years. And they're still as nice as the day they were built. So his work has integrity, I guess I could say. Or the walls that he's built in the past are still strong, still standing, still straight. So I wouldn't think that he would steer us in the wrong direction with the construction of this wall.
and then one other thing, just quickly, the berm that we talked about on the edge of the road to redirect.
Okay. After the wall is built, there will be a swale integrated in the pavement to keep the water on the road and not wash over the edge, which would cause the erosion. And it would be directed to the catch basin at the end of the street. Past your driveway, continuing down.
So the road would be sloped up towards?
No, the road will be level.
Okay.
There will be a little swale
Oh, okay.
to direct the water past or along the edge,
On-
past your driveway.
On the water district side,
Yes.
down past the driveway.
And that would be only until we can get in there and put some drainage in and repave the road,
Yeah.
like the Cedar Street project.
Yeah.
I have a plan of installing catch basins, storm drains, and repaving that road next year. So the berm on the edge of the pavement is just going to be temporary until I can get the drainage, storm drains in place in the catch basins.
Selectman Fogg has a question.
Okay.
Question for the water district. I believe the wall is going in on your property, not town right-of-way. Is that going to impact the operation around your garage?
Well, my concern, and I think that
Microphone, please.
Oh, sorry. Scott Davis. My concern is if we go any closer to our building, our snow comes off on that side, and we're gonna have a pile up of snow. I personally think that the only place to have this meeting is at that wall, not here. I think that if we look at, and Kevin comes and tries to explain what's going on, when we put the trailer, I'm the only commissioner here, and John was there, when we put the trailer in, we set that on 4 inches above the ground, on 4x4s. And the back of it, if you go there now, the back of it's under soil. That's how much soil's come from the road up against the side of our building.
You can see it. I think
So,
right there, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you go, and I think that we should be over there, we're talking about this wall so that we have a clear understanding of what we're all talking about. It's awful easy to stand here and say it's going to be this, it's going to be that. If we're over there, we actually see what we're talking about. That's just my 2 cents worth.
Anybody else on that?
Yes, I'm seeing it. Answer your question, we are going to have concerns about being closer to our building.
John Chase. I guess my concern in kind of with that is you were talking excavators, just big stones, right? Is there enough room between the wall existing already and the barn for an excavator to be in there? No. It's going to have to be from up top?
The work would be done from the road.
Okay.
Down below.
Because wouldn't they have to dig that out to
Yep, all that can
make
be
a
done
base?
from the road. Yep,
Okay.
from the road edge. The contractor that we had lined up for this has a backhoe with an extender hoe, so he has 26 feet of reach with his bucket, so he can do all the work from above.
You may have said this, Kevin, but how long a project is the contractor estimating that it's
He
going
was
to take?
estimating 2 to 3 weeks,
Okay.
and that's the extreme worst-case scenario.
So sooner than, maybe perhaps even sooner than 2 weeks to be
Sure,
done?
yes.
And then my only other question, I guess, would be, is down towards, I kind of drew a little quick diagram here so I could have some reference, but down towards the back side of the barn and where the wall is closest to the barn, the wall is leaning like this towards the barn. So if you put your base and you lean it back, is that going to still stop it from pushing that wall that way? Because as you go up, you get smaller rocks, right? I'm just curious and get ledge in behind there. Or...
So probably the contractor should be meeting with the water department to verify what they're doing and answer any concerns. 'Cause if we could set that up for, tomorrow, early part of the week,
Seems like that
then we
would
could,
make the
and
most
once
sense. Yeah.
all your concerns are addressed, you can give us, okay, we've answered everything, and then we could go ahead.
I think
Yeah.
also, John, where's the water that's going to come out of the drainage coming out of the wall? Where's it going to go? Is it going to go in our driveway?
The idea, and as Kevin spoke, is underneath the guardrail on Academy Street, right along there, to create a berm. Because what's happening now is because of the crest of the road, it's flowing down the side into the rocks and washing
Into
all
your
out
property.
into your property.
I'm well aware of that, but you also got water coming from the upper side of that road because of Tilton School being much higher. You got water coming underneath Academy Street, coming through that wall. And that's what I'm saying, groundwater. If that groundwater is still coming towards our driveways, it's gonna create ice in our parking lot. Because there's nowhere, the barn is like a dam on this side of that wall. And if you put the wall closer to the barn, the water's gonna come out, it's gonna come downhill in our driveway, and are we gonna have an ice issue in our driveway all the time because of the water coming out of this new wall? That's a concern I have, and I don't see anywhere where it's being addressed. It's talking about the drainage, but your drainage, even from your road, if Kevin puts new drainage in the road, it's gonna catch the groundwater on the road, but nothing's gonna take care of the water that's coming underneath the road, and that's why I say, if we had a meeting over there, you people could see firsthand. Peter, you saw it.
Yeah.
Catherine, you saw it when you were there. The water that's coming through the wall, not because of off the road, but just coming right straight through the wall, is not being addressed, and that's going to be an issue.
Kevin, did you have some comments on that, on how that?
Academy Street was going to be addressed next year for new pavement and drainage. And at that time, we would put in under drain, which would take care of a lot of the groundwater coming off the hillside. So I'm not sure.
It's going to be all depends on how deep you go, Kevin. That, you got to,
Well-
like I said, not being there, that road's up here, and our driveway's down here.
Yes.
You're going to have to go very deep with your drainage to catch all the groundwater coming underneath that road. There is a lot of water.
There is a lot of water, yes, I understand that.
You just don't realize, unless you've been there. I mean, we've gone, as over the years that we've had our office there, to where there's boulders that have shot out because of the hydraulic pressure underneath that road and that wall, have blown it right out and hit our building. And in Johnstown, we have two rocks, the wall that you're not gonna build. If you look, there's two big rocks that are sitting right at the base of the wall that were out in the driveway that we've just placed next to the base of the wall, that are sitting there right now. That's why I say, if you see it firsthand, you see a much different picture than what's being presented here tonight. I personally feel that we're wasting our time if we're not looking at the wall when we're talking about what's going to be done, because there's multiple issues here. And I look at it that we're putting a small Band-Aid on a huge cut until we address the water issue. The water is the issue. And like I said, you look on where you're going to put the berm on the south side of that road. That road's, there's places that road's dropped like this right now. You got that much of a hill? Okay. Well, if it's dropped that much, somewhere the soil is gone. I mean, it didn't drop there because of lack of, because it was being held up by soil. And that's a concern I have, not only as a water commissioner, but as a taxpayer of the town of Tilton. I have concerns about how the money's being spent on the project. Is it being done right?
Is there a way to catch that water in between the old one and the new one?
Well, we need to confirm where it's coming from. We need to know where it's coming from in order to address what to do with it.
I mean, it could be basement drains from some of the houses above the road.
We know it's coming through the wall, you can see where it moves through. So if we,
Can I just, because obviously I've been here longer than anybody here, and some of the issues that I've seen over the time, which I just saw one again when I was just over there, is sinkholes. Which started back towards the back of the barn here a few years ago. There was a sinkhole that happened. And all that soil was pushing out the wall, which is what Scott was talking about when he said it's filled up the barn area back here with soil. I was just up there a little while ago, and there's another sinkhole happening towards the front of the barn in the asphalt right now. There's a hole about this big. So eventually, I'm sure Kevin will see it and have to fix it. But when a previous director was working for you guys, he put a berm up. He fixed this hole, this sinkhole here. He filled it in with dirt. He put some stones on the wall, and then his fix was to put a berm of asphalt down the wall, past the grassy area, and stopped it at the short wall in our driveway, which in turn this water came down here, eroded that, pushed those big stones into our driveway. So that's the berm that's there now, and that's kind of how this one probably started eroding. I mean, I've also seen between woodchucks and weasels and squirrels and chipmunks in and out of this wall on every end of it, throwing dirt out of the walls. You can see them actually throwing the dirt out of the walls. But so that's probably why sinkholes start happening, is animals or whatnot, I would guess, but there could be some other issues. But that's what I've seen over the years. So I just want to address that sinkhole is right there right now. And then the wall itself, I kind of was wondering, most walls are built kind of straight. Right now, and I believe it's probably because the wall is bowing out at the end of the barn, that it used to be straight, now it's kind of bowed and curved out. Are they going to build it straight, I would assume? I don't
Yes.
know, but-
Yeah.
Okay. So,
I was under the impression it would be a straight wall.
okay. So, just so, you know, to make a straight wall, you would come way out here at this end, and it would have to be, you know, at least back here to kind of make that somewhat straight, right? I mean, if you look at it from the end, which Catherine and Peter did the other night, and you could see how there was a big dip in and then bowed back out, so.
Do we know how many feet there are between the wall and the edge of that garage that's there?
I didn't measure.
Do you know how far out you own from the edge of your garage?
I have some, because we have copies of the tax map. That's about what we have, and so we kind of have an idea of where it is. Between the office and the barn, it's about 4 feet from the wall.
Your boundary
Yeah.
between the existing?
Between the barn and the office,
Oh,
okay, because there used to be two separate lots here.
yes,
So when you measure this lot across this way,
yeah.
you come about 4 feet from the wall.
What about between your garage and that wall?
That's, I guess, to be determined, because I don't really know. Because the lot goes back, way back here,
Yeah,
and it's 42 feet in the back, but it's a pie shape.
yeah.
Goes from 70 in the front to 42 in the back.
5 feet.
But the only one that I do have is the one between the two lots, to give me a reference.
Does your deed reference bearings and distance?
Yeah, I've got it all on this
Oh,
one.
okay.
Yeah, rods and, you know,
Okay.
the old,
Rods and links?
yeah, the old school versions, yeah.
Sean, the reason I handed you that from Beck and Belucci, it's on the second page. I thought that might be something you were interested to see.
It was Standard Oil purchased it in 1930 from Yantis family, and then Bell Peabody family purchased it from Standard Oil, and then the Tilton Northfield Water District purchased it from the Bell Peabody Foundation. It was referred to as Pleasant Street back then. Went up to Morrow's land, 4 feet from their garage, it says, on the westerly side of the land. There's two lots, so it breaks them up into, one in here says 90, and then the other one says 110 feet back then. But it says many degrees and how many degrees and all that, Peter, so yes, it does. And then it breaks it down into feet, how many feet.
Mhm.
They call it 47 feet and 97 thousandths or whatever. It's crazy when you read it, but it is all there through the,
That's the plus and minus, right?
yeah, that is the plus and minus. And the other issue, the concern we have right now, and we brought it up to Peter and Catherine when they were over there Tuesday, is Center Street that comes down from Tilton School that runs alongside our property on the westerly side. Our driveway entrance comes in on Center Street. We have a sinkhole starting right on our edge of our driveway. That I don't know what's going on there, whether it's soil that's being washed down or there's a sinkhole or, I don't know. I don't know. There's a sewer line that comes down through there. I don't know if we got an issue with that. I don't know. but it's something we're gonna have to address because it's getting deeper till one of us drop into it, I guess. But Catherine and Peter both saw that when they were over there. So that's a concern that we have.
And whose would that be, ours or the
I don't
town's?
know.
I don't
I
know.
don't know. It's on the public right away.
It's on Center Street?
Yeah,
Kevin,
definitely on Center Street.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Kevin, did you take a look? I mean,
I can take a look at it.
I haven't addressed it, Kevin, no.
there's no abandoned, like culverts or anything under there that maybe that's,
I'm sure
you know,
there's-
what's causing the problem?
Nobody knows what's
Could be
under
drainage lines heading to catch basins,
Old
who
abandoned
knows? Old
septic.
old sewer lines heading to the river, who
I mean,
knows?
Standard Oil owned it one time, back in the 30s. So they could have put a tank there, maybe, I don't know. There could be anything underneath there.
Did we suggest that,
That's true, that, God knows.
did we suggest that they meet with the contractor and Jeannie and Kevin meet with the water company and the contractor to get some of these questions answered? Or should we meet with them next week at 4:45 at our meeting, begin over there and get some of these questions answered? Because we're under a time constraint here, the contractor, we keep delaying this, the contractor's not gonna wait forever.
I think both. I think you guys should meet with the contractor and get that information.
Well, we gotta get this moving.
And so if we do both, and then the selectmen and, so you get all of your answers,
I think that's a
questions
good idea.
answered, and then Thursday, before it gets dark,
4:45.
Well, we can only meet at 4:45 as a board.
Well, you still have the question of where's the boundary?
Maybe we can ascertain that.
Well, it doesn't, we have to know where the boundary is, but we have to get their questions answered because we also, once we know where the boundary is, we also need permission, if it is on their land for easement or whatever, to do the work. We have to get this done and done. We're going to go into the winter and fix this issue.
I can tell you that the Board of Selectmen in the town of Tilton did not lay out that road. That was Pleasant Street in 1866, before this was the town of Tilton.
Exactly.
You know, I-
And we have no record of.
I'm sure that's when that wall was built.
What was it before it was Tilton?
Sandwich Bridge
Oh, Sanders Ridge, that's right.
in the town, so it was part of Sandwich.
Yeah. Okay.
So
It was part of the township assembly.
if we can come up with a solution for next Thursday, and regardless of where the exact boundaries are, from there, we can come up with some type of easement or something to cover if we come up with an agreeable solution, right?
So what I would suggest, because the contractor is on other jobs, so I'm not sure how successful I will be to get him to meet at 4:45 on a Thursday.
we're not asking to meet at
I
4:45 on
understand
Thursday.
that. I
We're
know-
asking to meet with them,
We could finish.
I understand that.
okay?
So what I would suggest is I will call the contractor tomorrow and see if he can meet with all of you, independent of this board, sometime in the next couple days before the Thursday Select Board meeting,
Okay.
and answer your questions. And then have, if you want to have the Selectmen's meeting next week, to start over there, and not dependent on the contractor, go forward.
I like that idea.
So
Is everybody,
my question to the commission is, are the consensus now, before we go forward with this, is it in the positive that we're going to end up with an easement if it's on your property and your questions are answered in a positive manner? I mean, are we going to go through all of this and then not have this as a snag?
if we can come up with a solution, we'll work
Can we
together.
come up with
for
a
an easement.
solution?
We want, I don't mean to speak for Scott and Arthur here, but from my point of view is I've listened to John before, we would like a solution, so we're not gonna unnecessarily
Okay.
withhold permission or sign an easement to allow this to happen. I know Scott has some valid concerns that need to be met. John's got some concerns. I'd like to hear a resolution based upon their concerns, but other than that, I don't think that we want to stand in the way. You guys want to add anything to that?
Because I think you guys know a lot more about what's under the ground than I do when it comes to pipes and drainage and all that, so.
I can tell you after digging in this area for the last 23 years or so, you never know what you're going to Well, you missed the first step. We found old sewers, old drains, old water mains, that nobody knew they were there, or what they're doing, or where they're going, or water mains that should be dead, they're still alive.
Mr. Chairman?
When it's buried, that's it, you don't know.
Elsa?
Can I speak?
Yes, could you please?
Can I borrow this?
Sure, take it.
So a thought just came to me, and Scott, you had mentioned concerns of drainage, water busting through the new wall. Now, we can install under drain directly behind the new wall that would carry the water before it gets there out to atmosphere somewhere where it would drain into a catch basin downstream. So that is a viable plan. So we could go ahead with this new wall construction, redirect the water underground to another place.
I think it's gonna be addressed somehow.
Sounds like it makes sense to me.
Yeah, that would be the way that I would think any new wall would be constructed. When you have stone and stuff put in behind it, you need drain, obviously, and it's got to go somewhere,
So next week when you guys meet with the contractor, and maybe, you know, I looked at this contract and I saw the dimensions, and it isn't really clear exactly what's going to happen, so
Well,
maybe
it's hard to
you guys can
determine what's going on from that.
sketch it out, what's going to happen, so everybody's on the same page and not tribal knowledge on it. And then we could, you know, agree on something and turn it into an easement.
The other question, I guess, maybe would, if the 140 feet is from the telephone pole towards School Street, is anything going to be fixed on that other wall that's fallen in already?
Let's make sure that's all clear on what's written down, so we all
Because
know.
that was my initial call to them, is when that rock wall fell in.
Scott?
The one concern I would have, when we meet with this contractor, I'd like to have the public works director there also. Just because that way we're all on the same page, he's not saying something to us, but he hasn't
Well,
said
it would
to
be
Kevin or.
Jeannie and the public works.
Yeah, that's fine, if Jeannie, but I'm just saying, at least I definitely want the public works director there, so that when we're talking, there's no slip between the cup and the lip.
And identifying who's going to be doing which portion of it.
Yep.
We'll all work together and.
Yeah, just so that way, if something's said to us, it's said with Kevin there, and there's clear understanding that that's the direction that's being taken.
So we'll do that, and if there's any problems with everybody meeting up, we'll see what we can do. Gene will take care of that.
So is it the consensus of this board that you will, next week's meeting will start over there at the Water District wall?
4:45?
You really do, Scott, right, you do need to stand there
I've been there.
and see it and listen to what they have to, their concerns are while you're looking at it.
I understand what they're saying,
Really sets it home.
I've been there, but.
And have some sketches and who's going to be responsible for what,
Okay.
so we have a clear
So
vision.
I will work on that tomorrow to get the contractor to reach out to you about what days work for you. I'd like to try to get it done early in the week so that it's done by the selectmen's meeting on a Thursday.
Jeannie, point to make too, is we have a planned meeting on Monday, the commissioners do, at 4, starting at 4. So if he wanted to come that evening, we would all be there anyway. Correct?
Not a bad idea, if the contractor's available,
Yeah,
that would be great for
We're
us.
talking later hours, and we're gonna be there.
We're gonna be there
Because
anyway.
we're starting at 4.
4, yeah.
That would be a night.
We're gonna be there for a good two hours anyway.
2 hours anyway.
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, so that actually would work if the contractor's available.
Okay. All right.
One more thing. Your lot on Cedar Street, the lot that we want to thank you for allowing us to use.
Oh, the staging?
to stage from. We also want to let you know that we did put water service into that lot. So it does have, outside of the paved area, it does have a water service to that corner. of the lot.
Very nice, thank you.
Thanks.
But thank you for allowing us to use that for the Cedar Street project and Highland and Linden and Pine.
Sounds
Gene,
like
do we
everything's
have to
gonna be a
read
big
that
success
back?
up there.
I actually
Everything's
do,
gonna
I
be
can.
pretty successful.
I'll
Make a
I'll
copy.
get you a copy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And we will seed it when we're done with it. Once the Rouse is out of there, we will go in
And the CMA.
the rest of the way out there.
My question, I was gonna ask that question. Since now we are sharing that lot with Rowell's through the sewer district, I guess, under the permission from the Board of Tilton Selectmen, is that we were going to dress that field all up, seed hay and do everything. Is that cost be shared now between water and sewer? Or
You need to
Tilton.
address that with
Okay,
the
okay. I just didn't know if it was brought up.
Can't do
I didn't know if it
it.
was brought up with the board of what they were to do after they were done.
Sewer commission.
No, I know there's no sewer commissions here, but, no, I'm saying, was there any direction from the Board of Selectmen to the sewer district
We did
of
ask.
cleaning up and taking care of that stuff?
We gave permission at the meeting last week. We said that going by request, we had that they clean up after themselves and
So the sewer commissioners we could probably convince them to discuss that at their meeting on the third Tuesday.
I'll speak as one commissioner of water district, no matter whether they participate or not, it'll be left in the rightful manner when we pull out of it.
Correct.
Thank you.
Period.
thanks.
That'll be this commissioner's
John,
fault.
okay?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Just trying to do some cost sharing.
I know, but we will, no matter what.
We taking a vote on this right now?
No, we are not. But I'm just speaking for one commissioner. This commissioner will vote to have everything done right when we do it.
I'll second
It'll look a lot
that
better
motion.
than what it did when we went in there.
It'll be done right whether he wants to or no.
Well, that's consensus.
We'll all show up with breaks if it doesn't get done, right?
Arthur, you agree with that?
Excellent. Thanks,
Not to put
guys.
you on the spot.
Thank you.
We'll get that contract back for those.
Yeah,
I've got everything except the CMA.
And just to
If we
let
could
you
get a copy.
guys know, we
You
should
will.
be out of there next week.
Okay.
John, will you pass the
Thanks.
book back down there?
The water company should be pretty much out of there next week. And then we're going to Northfield for a project, and then we'll be back to do lawns after hopefully paving's done, so that we back up to it and such.
Okay.
Sean, just the Beck and Belucci, is that what you were interested in?
I'm sorry?
Just Beck and Belucci, is that what you were interested in?
I think John would be more, I appreciate seeing it, but I think John would like a copy, yeah.
Okay.
The
Does the
engineer.
Board of Selectmen know when they're gonna, what the paving schedule is now that we have the Public Works Director here? Do we have any idea of the timeframe?
Board of Selectmen actually voted the majority to not pave this year.
Not paved at all this year?
Not,
That's the way it
Oh.
stands
No, no,
right
hang on,
this
hang on.
second.
That
the,
is Catherine's opinion.
presently, what we have planned is that we would just be doing the base coat. We held
That's all
off,
that we did on this year.
we held off on the paving, excuse me. We're holding off on the paving until the sewer is done. And then we were trying to get Peter's the pavement guy, knows more about the base coat done so that it would settle.
Well, that way, come spring, any settlement, you shim and then put the wearing course
Wear
over.
coats, of course, in the spring. We still hope to get that done. I hope to get that done.
I hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is, we're waiting,
Put this
Right now,
we're
it's until that
proceeding on,
infrastructure
gonna
is
be
complete.
pipe bursting Linden. We're looking on Pine.
So you are gonna pipe burst Linden?
Yes, we
Yes.
voted that. We're also looking at Pine and seeing, it may also be the backwoods path up to High Street Extension. And then we're getting a second opinion on Highland, I believe.
You realize from Highland to Chestnut, you do not have a line that runs that way.
Yes.
Correct, you do realize that, right? Okay. They come down.
Yeah,
There was three lines, right, John, coming down? One behind the homes, and then one down Linden, and then one down Highland.
So the selectmen can answer any questions about paving.
No.
That's what I said.
So,
We can't talk about this.
Kevin wanted to answer the question on paving.
Kevin?
Allow him to answer that.
From what I've gathered, talking to the sewer department and the water department, we're looking at possibly the first week of November paving. The plant is open until the 15th of November, but obviously this all hinges on whether or not the sewer department can get done what they need to get done. But like I said, we have until the 15th of November where the plant closes to pave, so we have a good window still where that could be paved.
The 15th would be 700 closing in Northfield. The plants down in Hooksett are going to be open long past that, so they can truck it from there. That's not an issue. But we should be done before that. But
Yeah, I was using this one as a
As the-
fail-safe kind of a thing.
Thank you.
thank you for coming. Thank you for coming.
Good night, thanks.
Good to see you, John. Good night.
Oh, yeah.
Have a cookie.
Cookies.
John, cookies.
Take the
Cider.
cookies, come on.
Donuts.
There's donuts too. Fill your pockets.
There you go.
Go for it. Only donuts.
There you go.
Good night.
Bye.
It's too late.
How about that zone, the tables and on Island Park?
What's that?
The tables on Island Park, to make sure that they don't remove them before the zombie walk.
Other business, right?
That's what we got left.
In a non-public.
And a non-public.
Any other non, or any other?
I
public
think the
business?
island was
Yeah, the
non-public.
zombie walk.
I think it was non-public, right?
Zombie walk, the zombie walk.
I don't know what the conversation was.
Well, I thought we mentioned it and all of a sudden you said non-public, so I thought it was non-public earlier.
So if anybody
I don't know what-
would like to
what-
go into non-public,
I don't know what it's about, so.
Yeah.
Removing the trash in the benches before the zombie walk.
That's not non-public.
Well,
Is it?
we had that conversation earlier and I questioned it and nobody would answer me. Joe
I
asked
keep
the
bringing it
question.
up.
Joe asked the question like 3 times and I said, well, wait, hold on a minute.
Well, who has the third non-public then?
I do.
oh, so there is another non-public, okay. So we're all done.
No, let's answer the question
Yeah,
on
what
the
is-
benches.
What's the question?
Question,
All right, the zombie walk is going to end down here.
on the island.
Right.
Yeah, and they're going to have refreshments and whatever.
Yes.
They just wanted to make sure that the tables and benches and the trash cans and that stuff was left on the island until the zombie walk was complete.
There was a request
That's
for
right.
that to happen.
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
Was that
So you
request
put that-
granted?
And I was
Is that
trying to
grass?
remember, did they decide to leave the tables on the island?
Last year.
Last year.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just don't wrap them up before the zombie walk.
Yeah.
So that, you can let Kevin know.
Okay, that's all I got.
That's
The
all
other-
he was asking.
That's
Right.
all I was asking.
That's it?
That's very nice.
It was in her FYI.
Oh.
So I just wanted to confirm it and get it taken care of, but,
Yeah, nobody was answering. Okay.
okay.
Make a motion that we go into a non-public per
That's it for
RSA
non-
91A:3.
Other business? Just want to make sure. I'd like to try and do all. Stop it.
Sorry.
And you're in trouble there.
I couldn't help myself.
Go ahead.
Make a motion that we go into non-public per RSA 91A:3 personnel.
Paragraph 2.
Paragraph 2.
Second.
Constantino, yes.
Dawson, yeah.
Fog, yes.
Jessamine, yes.
Scanlon, yes.
We are red is on. I'd like to make a motion to seal the minutes of a non-public session as they pertain to personnel matters permanent.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
I'd like to make a motion at this time to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Vote with your feet.
8:21.